Okay, today we are simply combining the topics we have covered before, okay, in one. A given project like this, we say can actually make us combine all that we've learned. For instance, from last week, said, not last week, but of course, Monday, we said that today we shall at least edit or work on our own images. Uh, of course, maybe some of us have their images, others are not having, but it is okay. Especially for me, I just have this. It's not from the internet, so I believe I'll just use this, and it allows me all the necessary information or all that I must do. At least this image has it for me. So as we're going to combine, that is from maybe resizing, cropping, removal of backgrounds, the usage of those selection tools, those skin treatment tools, and so on. So that means this is the very image that I'll use for the purpose of demonstration. Okay, but feel free to use any. If at all you don't have any image of your own, you can pick and use, or if your image doesn't have maybe a if there's no need to clean the skin and so on, even have say color grade and stuff, you can just follow along and understand these are things we've done before, but we're just trying to combine them. Okay, we're only trying to have them combined into one. That is through what we shall have in this lesson. So the first thing before we move any further could be the lighting effect or the light effect. Okay, the light of course the image. When you look at this image, the question is it having a proper light or is the light not balanced? That should be the first question. And of course, when you say now your light is not balanced or is not well, where should you go? You understand? Where should you go to have a look at the light effects, the shadows, the color grading pattern, and so on? Where should we go is the question. You understand? And two, when you look at her skin, especially at the face, we know there's some spots, maybe pimples as well, that we are to remove. Okay, we should also know which tool to use. You understand? Should as well know which tool to use. And then three, she also has a background, which of course we shall also remove. And if you look at the background very well, you understand that it is not a defined background. Defined backgrounds are just those backgrounds with a uniform or a single color. Okay, but a background that has got many colors is not, or someone can easily say is not defined, or it is an undefined background. So basically, we shall be doing a lot of things on this image. One is to correct the color. Two is to remove those blemishes or the dark spots or the pimples. And four, we shall fix the light, remove the background, and then maybe save or even change the background. You get it, eh? And maybe as we proceed, our attendance will keep moving around as usual. Okay, please fill in those details correctly, especially with education code. I think it was stipulated clearly that if it is O level, we shall say secondary, that is S. Okay, If it is advanced level, that is, say someone can say A level, that can be A. You get it? Eh? But we've seen people write there O, that is for O level. So this time, let's not repeat that same mistake. Instead of saying O for O level, just put S. Okay? Just put S. And of course, the attendance moves in two ways. One is for the internet connectivity. So as you connect to the internet, please make sure the infrastructure, we're leaving it blank. That is for the internet connectivity. But the service is internet. You understand? Okay? And then if it is for computer training, the infrastructure is the computer lab, and then the service is IT, skills training, or just computer training, or ICT training, and so on. So that is pardon? Both, yes. Because when you look at the activity there, they're different. One is for internet, the other one is for computer training. These are two different things. Yeah. So that is my image. Question is, which one do you have? Eh? Are we all having images opened into Adobe Photoshop? Do we all have images? Or are we all having our software opened already? Is it a yes or no? Hmm? Is it a yes or no? Not yet. Eh? Yes, so let's do the needful and open our images in Photoshop. Let's do the needful and open Photoshop. Or if you want to use your own picture, someone can use, you can pick your friend's phone and have a picture taken right away. You get, in case you don't have, and maybe you feel like using your own, someone can help you take a picture. Okay? Someone can help you and take a picture. So, first things first, we shall start by fixing light and color grading. Okay? By fixing the light and color grading. We could easily say that this was taken in broad daylight. That's why you're seeing part of her face has got shadows. Okay? Part of her face has got shadows. So this is just due to having the image taken in broad daylight, or maybe the sun rays were direct on the face or parts of the person that is right here. Okay? So we go to, that is filter. Okay, because I said we're going to start by fixing the light and doing color grading, or making our images look stunning. Okay, make our images look stunning before we can even do skin treatment. Understand? So we shall click on filter. Okay, that is under the main options. You find there's options in the ribbon section. Okay, we have filter. Where next do we go? Under the filter options, where next do you think we shall go? Oh, from this section, which part was, of course, handled for you? Yes, we have the camera raw filter. Okay, the camera raw filter. So from here, can someone simply remind us what these buttons mean by simply explaining? Yes, for you, you press escape key on the keyboard. There's a key on the keyboard that has got ESC. It's actually the first key from the left hand side. Just press it. Uh-huh. So can someone simply explain for us what these buttons mean from the camera raw filter? Because whatever we do here is simply outside of the Adobe Photoshop mainframe. Okay, it's like opening a new window in Adobe Photoshop to fix light, to fix the colors, the temperature, or maybe to make our images warm and, of course, maybe exposed, maybe having a lot of contrast, having shadows made much or reduced, and so on. Can someone briefly tell us what these buttons mean? Especially the zoom button and then the preview buttons and so on. You get it? Eh? Because I can assume that it might be the first time for some of us to go to camera raw filter. Not so. It might be the first time for some of us to use the camera raw filter. So just a wrap up. We said when you look at fit here, it says fit in view. When you have the fit in view option selected, it means your image at all dimensions, or maybe the whole of the resolution, shall be displayed for you. You see everything. Okay, that is when you set it to fit in screen or fit in view. And of course, we also have the select zoom level. Okay, we have the select zoom level. When you drop it down, you'll find that we have so many options that run from 6% to 1600 percent. That is for resolution or zooming in and out. Okay, meaning the minimum percentage for zooming in or out is just 6, and the maximum is what? 1600%. Okay, so when you click on this fit in view, maybe 33%, maybe 100%, maybe like 1600%, we realize whatever is displayed will never be the same. Okay, otherwise at 100 and 1600, we begin to see pixels. Not so. The small or the squares that we do see in the image, these are the pixels that we mentioned some time back. Okay, so having it set to fit in view means you want to see everything. Okay, so that is for the zoom options. And then we have, of course, this cycle between before and after views. This is like a preview button, or maybe a preview screen button, that when you have it selected, it divides or brings you the before and after images. So whatever changes we shall make from these panels right here, you will see them on the after button instead of what? The before screen. That means it is actually a comparison screen that allows you to see what you're doing. Okay, you can simply compare what you're doing to the original what display or the original image. You get it? Yes. It can also be zoomed in. You just click and keep dragging, and then you see things like that. Get it? Eh? Yes. So as you're going to make adjustments here, one of the options says light. Okay, light, which has got 6 subsections. One is exposure, and number 2 we have contrast. There's highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. Okay, shadows, whites, and blacks, exposure, contrast, and highlights. So that means they are sliders, or they are slider buttons. As you're going to drag it in either direction, either positive or negative, understand you will be creating or making your image have effects. You can see this, eh? As I try to move, at least on the after screen, there's something you get to see. Not so. There's something that you get to see on the after screen. Okay. Same thing applies to the contrast. When you increase my contrast, you can see that the colors, the contrast for the colors is simply or quite different from the one on the original uh, screen or the before image. Okay, so I'm just going to take this down to around let's say 10, positive 10 here. And one thing we must understand is that the values I may put here may not work for your image. You get it? Because we have different images. That's one factor. So the values that I enter here are just specific for the picture or for the image I'm using. You understand? So if yours is dark, you might have your contrast more than 10. Okay? You might also have your contrast less than 10. You get it? Can be more than what I have or less than what I have. Even someone can say for his or her image, he's going to use exposure. You get it, eh? Of course, the reason as to why I'm leaving my exposure at 0 is because my image is already exposed, has got light. So it is just the light I'm aiming at fixing. You understand, eh? Just want to fix this light effect. Of course, we call this kind of light shouting lights. It means they're overboard or they're too much. You get it? Too much. So I just try to fix that. And of course, highlights, I'll take it to negatives. Or for the purpose of understanding, you can move it to negative and positive so that you understand it more. Still on the highlights, so I'm just going to maintain around negative let me say negative 20. Just simply trying to balance light effect on the image or on my models, skin and so on. And then we also have shadows. When you take it to the positives, understand you're getting rid of the shadows. You can see when it is at 100 positive 100, this is how the image looks. When you compare this after a display to the original, we understand there's much of difference. That's all. So for my shadows, uh that means let's say I need around negative 5. And then we also have whites. Okay, you can see when you increase, there's a way it affects the image, and when you decrease or take to the negatives, there's also a way it applies to the images. So for my case, I want around negative 20 also. Okay, and we also have blacks. I'll maintain around positive 15. Are we together? Are we together? Who is in a camera raw filter and who is not, so that we see if we are in the same boat or not. Are we together? Or we're not? We are not, right? Some are behind others, of course, in the same boat. Yes, the next option that we have is the color option that runs from white balance. Can easily leave it at as sort. That's as the image was taken. And of course, under the color, we do have options from temperature, the tint, vibrance, and saturation. Question would be, do you want your image to have a temperature of yellows or blues? Do you want to have a tint of the purples and the greens? Do you want to have a vibrance of black and white, or the yellows, oranges, and reds? Do you want to have a saturation of black and white, and or a saturation of yellows, oranges, and reds? So here we also have to make a decision. Me, I said whatever I'll do here is just meant for my image. You get it? So don't skip the ones I'm skipping because you want to do what I'm doing. You get? If there's need, you can apply values on a given field, not necessarily like what I have because of the image that I'm handling. So I want my picture or the image to be warm. That means I want to have some vibrance of about 10. I also give a saturation of about 5. I think it is quite overboard. I'll just take my vibrance to, oh yes, around 6, like this. So quiet looks okay for me. We as well have effects, the text of the image, the clarity of the image, the haze of the image, the vignette of the image, and lastly, the grain effect. So the effects that we have, of course, when you increase on the texture, understand it is going to display all the skin, of course, the skin texture. Someone can say instead of going that much, I need just around 20. Okay. For clarity, I'll have around +2. Lastly, I'll just do some color grading for the midtones. I'll also do something for the shadows. And then, yes, for the highlights. Mm-hmm. So this becomes the before and after of my image. So someone can easily comment which one looks beautiful and which one doesn't, and so on. So that's not all. This was just all about trying to fix the color and the light of the image. Okay. So if I'm satisfied of all that I have done, I'll just commit the changes that I've made. Bear in mind that whatever you see here is going to replace what is there. Okay. So when I say accept the changes that I've made, so this becomes of my image. So there's a little bit of change that you realize with your image. Okay. So what next? We clean the skin. Not so. We clean her skin, remove the pimples, remove the blemishes, the black spots, and so on. So that means, of course, can easily zoom in and out. I'll use my healing or the treatment tools. That's ranging from spot healing brush tool up to uh, the red eye tool. So I'll just me to clean the skin. I don't need the red eye tool, from spot healing brush tool to content aware move tool. So I'll use, what do we say we use the spot healing brush tool for? If this is my image and I have my spot healing brush tool selected, what do I use it here for? Hmm? What do I use it for? Yes, Andu. I thought you want to say something. Okay. Okay. Yes, we use this tool to remove small size uh, unwanted parts of an image. Can be pimples and so on. So I'm just going to go ahead and start cleaning or removing things like blemishes on her face. Okay. Things like blemishes on her face or on her skin. Just like that. Just going to go ahead and continue to remove the parts I don't need on the skin. And you can feel free to adjust on the size of your brush tool and so on. That's during removal. Okay. It should slightly be bigger than what you want to get rid of, but not also too big, such that it does not affect the cleaner areas of the skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some removal right here. So someone could even ask, how do you know that we're handling or we're dealing with an 8-bit image? Okay. When you're dealing or using 8-bit images for your designs, you find that as you open the image, it displays for you the what? The color mode right here, RGB stroke 8. That means it is an 8-bit image. What about to how about when your image displays this? Okay. How about when your image shows this 32? What do you think it is meaning? Hmm? When your image is showing 32, it means it is a 32-bit image. When you open and shows RGB stroke 32, that is a 32-bit image. Okay? Yeah, so I just want to have the original, that is to be this. Okay? This back at the original. And one thing we have not done but we're to do is finesse, or how to make the skin look fine and smooth and balanced. Okay? That means after cleaning things like pimples, black spots, blemishes, and so on from your model skin, yes, we can go ahead and proceed with the other, or with the rest of the what? Adjustments or changes. Just check all over the skin, can be at the hands, the legs, the chest, and so on. The parts that you feel should not be there. Make sure, make sure you have them all removed. Okay? The ones you don't feel should be there, just make sure you get rid of them. So something like this, I'm just going to proceed and get rid of things that I feel don't look nice on the skin. Okay? Things that don't look nice on the skin. But also not the veins and so on that we have on inside of our body, especially like what is displayed right here. We cannot say this is not good, we remove it like this. That is not possible. Okay? So this way the skin looks quite fine, but we did not duplicate the layer. That's why now it is going to be hard to compare it. Otherwise, maybe let me just open the original from this side because I haven't saved it. Just open the original right here, and then we can see what we are working on or having. So this was the before, and this is the after. This is now in Photoshop. I just doing this just to have a comparison. So between this and that, you can have your comment that this one is better, or maybe the other one was better, and then you proceed. How to finesse the skin? Okay, how to finesse the skin? We shall duplicate the layer, which is Control Z. Okay, duplicate the layer by pressing Control Z. Are we together? Hmm? You have after. Hmm. We are not saving. I haven't saved anything. That comparison, we should have had another copy of the layer, but it is still okay. Comparison, you know how the original was. You get? You know how the original was, and of course, You also have this one you're working on. You can have separate files of the same person. The original will be there, and of course the edited version will also be there. You get it? Yeah. But there's one person whose computer does not even open the software. So I don't know how she's going to follow what we're doing. Eh? It's one person whose Windows is closed. Oh, I don't know why the level of disorganization is like this today. You get? So we're saying how to finesse the skin or how to make the skin look nice. Others are still in a camera raw filter. Others have already removed the blemishes, which is good. Those who have already removed their blemishes and have already used the camera raw filter understand you're doing a great job. But make sure when the changes the changes that you do make should be perfect. Okay, should be perfect. So we were saying that to finesse the skin, okay, those who have opened close your camera raw filter, let's look at how to finesse the skin. You shall do that later. Okay, you close the camera raw filter. Let's look at how we can finesse the skin. So assuming this is your model right now, this is your model. Can be the face, or maybe it's a full portrait, just like mine right here. This is a full image, not just the face, but it is a full image. So what happens when I want the skin to look nice? This way someone can even say the image is already nice, right? But a graphic designer says it is not perfect. You understand? Because when I zoom in, you find that the skin is not blended well. Though we said for photojournalism, we can just do little of the editing and we call it a design, right? Otherwise, that would be to only have natural images. But for when it is photoshopping, understand we're supposed to do more than when you are in photojournalism mode. So we said to do finessing on the skin, we do it in two ways. One is the high end frequency or the high frequency separation mode. That is done by first of all duplicating the layer, which is Control Z, or you drag your layer that is locked to the create new layer dialog box like that, such that you have at least background copy, or just press Ctrl Z to have a layer 1 created. This Ctrl Z to have a layer 1, or you drag and drop your layer to this icon that has got a plus sign. That is a create new layer shortcut or dialog box. So you can either press Ctrl Z to duplicate. I think that is the shortcut, which can also be easier to use for us. Huh? So have we all duplicated our layer? Is it a yes? So when you have your layer duplicated, we are supposed to invert it, make it look negative. Okay? How do we invert that? To invert our layer, it is Control I. This is to invert and make it look negative, like this. You get? This is an inverted layer saying it is negative. Okay? Yes, one person is doing great and who has also a good one. But my problem is just okay. There's one person in between Andu and this one. Mike, where's your work? Bro, first turn your screen. Let me see what you have. Have you duplicated? Make it to look negative. When you duplicate and you press Ctrl I, understand your image look similar to what I have. Okay, then we change the blending mode. That is from normal here. Just drop down, choose vivid light, and then you find everything is hidden. Eh? Are we all having it like mine? They may be different. Eh? Vivid light. Vivid light like this. Let me first zoom mine out. Then you see what I am meaning. That is the image. Now let's start restoring our image back. You get? How do we restore our image back? First of all, we shall use, I said, frequency separation by using the high end or the back end options. Meaning, we shall now go to filter, still having this layer selected. Okay? It is selected, you go to filter, you get? Instead of saying camera raw, we are going to other. Okay? Go to other and then high pass. You get it? At high pass, that's what is already showing. Let me first zoom in. Feel free to zoom in such that you see what you're doing right on your model, right on the picture that you're editing. So you zoom it in and have it seen well. So as for the value, it starts from 0.1. Eh? First drag it towards the left. That is positive, 1000, but first drag yours to 0.1 at the start point. You find that at 0.1, the image looks like the way it was before. Okay? The image looks just the way it was before. But what happens when you start dragging it towards a bigger value? Eh? What happens? You start to see the skin look more smooth with some effects, not so? With some effects. So for me, or for my case, I'll say 10 is okay because at least I can see from here, even at the hands and stuff here, that at least, yeah, 10 looks fair, smooth and nice. But this is not all, okay? But this is not all. Is your image looking nice? We are losing texture. The texture is not there, right? The texture is not there, but we said we're still restoring the image and we want it to look better than the way it was before. So we go back to filter. That is after accepting the changes you made, like mine. Then when you have your values, you enter at OK, and then we're going back to filter. Okay, and this time you realize also we're going to better choose different options. It's not going to be camera raw. We have already gone to high pass. Now we come to blur. Okay, want to make it blurrish, so we shall be at blur. Are we together? So when you're at blur, you see there are many options that run from average up to surface blur. Okay, but our option is number 5, which is the Gaussian blur. Okay, so I have Gaussian blur selected. When you click on it, what happens? There's a value that displays also. Not so. There's a value that also displays, and of course, it also starts at 0.1. This is for the radius. So you're trying to give a radius for the pixels. You understand? You're trying to give a radius for your pixels to restore the texture of that image that we deformed in the names of trying to make it look beautiful or make it look better. Okay? Yes. So try to move towards a bigger value. Huh? What happens? You already restoring the what? You're already restoring the skin or the texture of your image. So for me, I'll say 10, and for here, I'll say okay. 4 is okay for me. But then you also realize the effect is too much, not so? Sorry. You also realize the effect is too much. So we're going to create a mask. Who can remember, like during the COVID-19, the COVID-19 season, when they say put on a mask, can someone see your mouth? So as we mask here, understand we're also going to hide whatever we've done right here. So when your value is already made, please click on OK. But if earlier on you used, but let's say for Gaussian, let's note this well. Okay. When your high pass, of course, we know at high pass it has to be bigger than the Gaussian. So if you use at high pass a value of like 10, your Gaussian should not reach 10. You get a smaller value because you want to finesse the skin. But from this distance, I could even say the skin is looking very nice. If I'm to do comparison, just by turning this layer off, that is how it was, and then turn it on. This way it looks smooth, but only that it is affecting all of the image. That's why we shall mask and then of course reveal it at specific parts. So to have a mask, we have an option right here which says add a layer mask. Okay, when you add a layer mask by clicking on this, it will display a white layer mask. And when you press your alternate key on the keyboard and click on the mask, understand it shall create a black layer mask hiding the effect from the image. So these are two different things. We can add a direct layer mask and also have it inverted the same way we did invert our layer earlier on. Okay, so here I believe the process can confuse a little bit, but understand or make sure you do your best to, follow through and so on. So we said we're adding a layer mask. When you click on add a new or add layer mask, understand it's when it is white, believe me or understand that everything that you've done will still be visible. But when it is inverted now, it's like turning everything upside down. You get? When you invert, it means you're creating a negative mask or you're hiding what you did. But we shall use also the brush tool to reveal this. So we shall invert this by pressing Ctrl I. From white, we want it to turn black. Eh? Is Ctrl I. So I can zoom my image to start revealing the effect, not on all the parts, but on specific parts. So I'm just going to use from my tools, that is brush tool. So the size, this is too big. The size of the brush, it is too much. So I'm just going to reduce the size maybe to this. Make sure your brush has got a blending mode of normal. Okay, opacity 100%, flow also 100%. Okay, the smoothing, yeah, for smoothing we can just retain 10%. Is okay. So I'll start brushing, okay, on the skin of my model. Okay, and where the effect is too much, we shall also look at how we can fix it. It's like this. Okay, just like this. I'll just brush along the skin and I want it to finish or look better and nice. So I'm just going to do this on all the skin. Of course, now you can see from here the effect is too much. So I'll just undo that. For that very part, the opacity, you take it down to something smaller, around 19. Then you can brush around these parts, like the nose and so on. You can also increase it back to 100 for the chin area. Yes, I said brush tool. Brush tool. There's a tool out of all those. It is called just brush tool. Do you see them? Brushes, brush tool, pencil tool, color replacement tool, and mixer brush tool. There's brush tool. Not so. Which is the first option, which is just said the brush tool, and it is the first option. Uh-huh. So that is the tool we're using. We said, for instance, at 100, if I'm to brush around this part, you can see there's a light that applies to my image, right here. Oh, we're not seeing what is right there. Hmm? Yes, so you'll find that the effect along this line here is too much. So I'm just going to do this. You can even check how far you've brushed by pressing Alt and clicking on the mask. Then you see what you've done like that. Eh? You can ask yourself, is it perfect or not? Okay. And then, of course, we can switch back by pressing Alt and selecting on the mask. Of course, if I want to perfect my brushing, I can make it to this negative view and brush better from here. You understand? So the brush size, I'll keep on adjusting from big to small, just like that. Yes, that is how she will be. That's how the person will look. Then I'll just go ahead and finish. Just go ahead and finish. There are some parts on the body that will not need your opacity, this one up here, to be 100. So just have to reduce the size of your opacity to around 10s, 15s to 20s down here. Okay? You see, this is how interesting graphics can be. You get. I can even promote someone and get for them a wife, a husband through the skills. Now, if the reality does not match the pictures, it's not my problem. You get. So this will be for the face, and then of course the neck is also there. Can also finish the skin around the neck area. The hands as well. Just going to finish the hands. Something like this. Is it hard? Is it? Are you sure? Yet this is the simplest method we can use to fix or to beautify the skin. It's okay, I'll re-explain that. Okay, I'll re-explain it. As I'll re-explain, I'm not going to demonstrate because now this hard work I cannot do it one more time. Uh-huh. That is now how my image is looking after all the changes that I've made. Can also still say it is not all. How to give makeups lipstick, and so on should come in the next class. Uh, yes, like I was saying, to make the or to finesse the skin of a given project. Okay, I think you can follow with us. You can open any image because we're doing the same thing. Okay, to finesse the skin of a model or a given project. What I always refer to as models is just the images. You understand? We're not creating artboards. If you check all these works people are having, they did not create artboards. They only opened images. Okay? Just open your image with Photoshop and so are we together now? Such that I explain it one more time. Hmm? Are we together? You can see what I did. Just this. Okay. So we were saying uh to finesse the skin. Of course, we duplicate our layer once by pressing Control what? Control what? To duplicate the layer. Control Z. When you press Control Z, what happens? It gives you either layer 1 or background copy and so on. Okay? Then we invert that layer that we have duplicated by Control what? I. Control I, it brings or gives or makes your image look negative. Eh? Makes your image to look negative. I don't know now if I export someone's picture like this. Someone can easily assume we're insulting them. Eh? But this is just a negative look. Then we said we should change the blending mode after inverting our layer. Go to, these are the blending modes. Eh? Set the blending mode for the layer. So we said we change the blending mode from normal to vivid light, and everything turns like that. Vivid light. Do you see your image? You can see some elements like light and so on. Not so. Then we go to filter, come to other and high pass. High pass. Yes, the value. How many do you have? Yes. Under the radius. What do you, sorry? 10 point something. What determines this radius here? Understand. Let me explain on the image before you can accept that. How we determine the use of our radius is right here. You know, when I zoom this image in, you see, look at the teeth, look at these dark areas. Okay, you'll find that at 0 it is just normal. Oh, at, sorry, 0.1 it is normal. But when you start moving it forward, you start seeing some colors that we don't need on our image. You get? So that means when you take it even to 30s, 20s, 40s, and so on, it gives you different look. Eh? So, and for the images that we have, they're very different. So that means as you shall have a radius, make sure you don't see too much of these colors that we don't need. Okay? Someone can say for him it is going to be 7 or 5. You get? Okay? Can be 7 or 5 and so on. Then you accept whatever you've made by clicking on OK, like this. Then let us start revealing our texture of the person by going back to filter. Go back to filter, you'll come to blur and Gaussian blur. Then select Gaussian blur. Now, the question will be, what value did you use earlier? Huh? Emma, what did you use? 3 point? He used 3.6. Mike, what about you? He used 5. That is it Doreen? Gladys, eh? Gladys, what was your value? Oh, you've already applied yours since. Hmm? So now, Emma used the 3.5, Mike used the 5. So what you do is, from the Gaussian blur section, okay, the radius should not reach the radius that you used at high pass. Should be below the radius you used at high pass. He used the 3.5, so that means his radius cannot reach up to 3.5. Can be 1 point something or 0 point something or 2 point something. I used around 6 point something. I'll take mine down to 3.3 here. I'll say it's okay. Huh? Say it's okay. So the last thing we can do is we want the parts that are not looking good on the image still. So we want to hide the effect and then have it revealed on the desired parts of her skin. Okay, so meaning we said we shall create a layer mask on the layer we are using by clicking on this icon. So actually has got a square data or maybe a rectangle like icon having a circle in the middle. Okay, or someone can even say it is like a camera kind of icon and so on. So you just click on it, giving you a white layer mask. So you also invert that mask by clicking what? Control plus I, then it turns it to black. You get it? It turns it to black. So you go to your tools, you look for brush tools. Brush tools, when you drop under the brushes, there are many, but the one we're to use is just the brush tool. Okay, so then you start brushing on your model's skin, and then we say that there are parts that will have the effect too much, like this one of mine. What we can do here is you go up, reduce on that opacity percentage by taking the sliders down. Okay, from 1, this is from 1 up to 100. So if it is too much, reduce to 10s, to 20s, 30s, and so on. Okay, and then you can do the needful right from here. This is until you finish. Okay, so when you feel your model skin is now perfect, here we can say we are able to proceed with the editing process. Okay, here we can be able to proceed with the editing process.